Do you have a friend or a family member or a loved one who's got poor mental well-being? If so, then this is a video where we can make sure that you're on track to doing exactly everything that you can do to support them. When we have somebody that we care for and that we love and their mental health, and whether we can just see that just slowly declining or whether it is a very dramatic change with their mental well-being, it can sometimes leave us feeling as if we're not doing enough or if we should be doing more or what about this, but actually let's just explore the things that you can do to make sure that we kind of give you that confidence booster for you to realise that you're doing the best that you can do. I need you to recognise that it's big on you being that supportive person in their life, because you're going to maybe try and really lift them up and be super happy all the time. Alternatively, you're going to be on edge because, well, what type of mood are they in? Are they going to be shouty and snappy, or are they going to just be really quiet and awkward? So really what can happen for the carer, for the loved one, for the friend or family member that's trying to support them, it can be exhausting. And then sometimes what happens on top of that is we feel so guilty because, well, we're not the one with poor mental well-being or with the mental illness. And then it's kind of just goes into a bit of a cycle where I just want us to stop and just recognise that all we can ever ask from ourselves is for us to do the best that we can do. And if you know that that's what you're doing, then that person that you're trying to support is extremely, extremely lucky to have you. They just might not realise it. Okay, so let's look at some strategies in what you can do to help that friend or that family member or that loved one. My first one is I want you to be open with them. I want you to let them know that you're there for them. Now, sometimes they're not going to want to talk to you about their worries, and that's fine. However, if you know that something's not right, then maybe what you could say is, you might not want to talk to me about it right now. However, when you are ready, I am there to listen to you. So it's just about you letting them know that you're there for them, because then it might not be at that moment, but at least you've just given them that seed, so then when they do want to speak to you, they know where you are and just that you're open to have that conversation. Also, it's about active listening, okay? It's such a simple skill. You are actively with them and listening, okay? It's as simple as that. But with that, it means about making sure that you're not clock watching, making sure that you're not on your phone, or your mobile's going off and you're just like, oh, let me just check that. Like, okay? If you're to be there for them when you are in those moments and you're trying to understand their story, then show them that you can be a good listener. So really do minimise those distractions. In life, I need us to listen to the little things, okay? And that might sound really silly, but I need us to show that as friends, as somebody that's in a loving relationship or with family members, I need us to show those people that we can listen to those little things. Because one day, that's when they'll know that they can come to us with a big thing. So this is my big thing. Whenever I do parenting webinars, for parents and carers, I'm always saying that we need to show that we can listen to the little things, because one day that might be a big thing. So just show that you're that type of person that can listen to those little things and can be there for them, because that's when, heaven forbid, if there is anything big that's happened, that they know that you'll listen to them and take them seriously. This one's a tricky one, but encourage them to get that professional help. And whether that is at work, they do services, at school they do services. Yes, there might be a waiting list, but we'd much rather them at least be on that waiting list. Got nothing to lose. You know, if I have, when I'm at school and I'm working with a young person, they're like, oh, I'm not too sure. It's like, we might as well be on the waiting list, because you can always change your mind when you get to the top and that support comes in. You can always say to them, actually, this isn't for me. So it's better to be on a waiting list than to just be doing nothing. And ideally, it will be either to get them to the doctors. It's just about trying to get them to recognise that it doesn't hurt to have that professional help where they can realise that they're not on their own. Because the truth is, they're mentally poorly. They are unwell. And with that, it's about whether that's medication, whether that's talking therapy, and there's so many different types of therapies out there that really can help different people. And if they've had a really bad experience of a counsellor or of anything to do with trying to get them to help themselves in the past, it doesn't mean that that's going to be a repeat, okay? So if they've been to the doctors before and it was horrific, that doesn't mean that, well, I would encourage you not to see that same doctor, but that doesn't mean that the next doctor's going to be horrific either. It's about giving people a chance. My next strategy, keep it simple. It is as simple as that. You do not need to know the answers when you are talking to somebody, or when you're listening to somebody, or when you're trying to help somebody. It is okay to say, I don't know what to say right now, but you do need to know that I'm here for you. Okay? It is as simple as that. Sometimes when we're listening to somebody, we're thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? What's my answer going to be? How am I going to react? Just be with them. And if that means that you need to say that sound, if you need to say that sounds really tough right now, then say that. I think that people would much rather want the most honest and authentic and real version of you than you trying to be little miss or little mister or little their fixer, because that's not how it works. Just being with them, being beside them, having that cuddle, having that hand on their shoulder, that hand on their knee, that if you're that close to them, having that tissue, that's what they need. They need that space. So yeah, don't have all the answers, just keep it simple. My next one is about the importance of staying in touch. Now, often what happens when somebody is struggling with feeling sad, down, blue, low mood, depression, a mental illness as such, is that it's very easy to isolate ourselves, where we can't even focus on the day, let alone other people. Therefore, we kind of just go in. Now, that's not them being rude, and I really need you to remind yourself not to take it personal. What's going on is that they're just really struggling with the world right now, and that they think that the world would be better off with them out of people's kind of social lives. But what I need you to do is I need you to stay in touch. And that's not bombarding them. That's just the gentle, it might be like a GIF, it might be emoji, it might be a quote. I love quotes. I'm here if you need me. But what I would encourage you to do is not to have questions in that message that you're going to send them, okay? Because when you're putting a question mark, that means that you are expecting a reply. And if they don't reply, then they've failed, okay? So instead of, how are you today? Maybe think about, I hope you're okay today. Just allowing you to check in, so they're reading it, and there's no pressure for them to feel as if they need to reply, because then that's just one less thing for them to worry about. The next strategy is quite important for some people, and with that, it might sound really silly, but I don't want you to use words such as, oh, cheer up, or it will get better soon, or there's light at the end of the tunnel, or think happy thoughts, or you need to change your mindset, or stop feeling sad, or anything like that. Because I can assure you that people that have been struggling with this feeling of low mood, of poor mental well-being, of a mental illness, this is not their choice, okay? They do not wake up every morning and choose to feel this way. They do not choose to feel this way. So I need us to have a level of understanding to recognise that all we can do is to try and use these words of motivation and of encouragement and of support, okay? And that's it. I'd much rather you use those kind of words of support and encouragement rather than, oh, get on with it, or pick yourself up, or it'll be all right soon. Just try and stay away from those words, because often what can happen is it can just really irritate them, maybe, because then again, guess what? They're even more alone in the world because somebody doesn't understand them. Because if I could just cheer up, guess what? I would just cheer up. So, and also it's, I suppose, moving on, it's about realising that we don't know how each and every one of us thinks or feels. Therefore, all we can do is trying to tap into this empathy of understanding what's going on for them right now, that will allow us to try and understand their world. And then that's even harder if they're not going to let us in. And again, they're not letting us in because they're being nasty and, they're being vicious. They maybe just don't know how to. So that's why, that checking in and still sending those invites. If you're going out, still invite them. They may more than likely say no, possibly. But what about if they said yes? Or what about if they found out that you went and they realised that they didn't get an invite? So just think about that. God, Little Miss Chatterbox. My dad even bought me a book of Little Miss Chatterbox over there. I really am. Listen, just look after yourself, okay? Because it can be really exhausting for you. So my last strategy would literally be take care of yourself. It's not selfish to sometimes just think to yourself, I can't do this right now, I need to go and do this. And whether that's going for a walk or doing a food shop, I don't know, but sometimes just having that ability to, this is all too much, can sometimes just allow you to make sure that you're looking after yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give yourself to other people when you've got nothing left to give. So yeah, just make sure you look after you, okay? Anyway, stay awesome. Keep on doing what you're doing. I'm here for you, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye everybody.